alaikum warahmatullah. My name is Muhammad Ansar of Hashir. I am from Ahmadiyya Board of Peace. I'm in grade 7 and 12 years old. The topic of my presentation is why do we need vaccines and how do they work? Introduction. Being vaccinated is what a lot of people are talking about during this pandemic. I will be telling you how our immune system works, why we need vaccines, different types of vaccines, their effectiveness and side effects, and much more. I hope my presentation will give you plenty of information on this topic and clear up many misunderstandings about vaccines. How does our immune system work? Before we find out why we need vaccines and how do they work, we need to find out how our immune system works. The way how our immune system works is that it has different antibodies for different pathogens. When a pathogen comes into our body, our immune system starts to respond and then starts to fight against the pathogen. If the immune system has antibodies for the invading pathogens, it will then use those antibodies and wrap up the pathogen's proteins. After the pathogen is wrapped up by antibodies, the pathogen will not be able to harm you. Over here in this picture, the pathogens that have existing antibodies are the pathogens you have been vaccinated for, and this pathogen that has no antibodies, it is a new pathogen that has entered your body and you have not been vaccinated for it. In this picture, this is the SARS virus. When the protein of the virus grabs onto a receptor, the cell becomes infected. So the antibodies wrap up the proteins of the virus so the virus cannot harm you. If we already have an immune system, why do we need vaccines? If there is a new pathogen and it comes into our bodies, our immune system will take some time to respond and create antibodies to fight off new pathogens. Well, that's why our body needs vaccines to protect us from new pathogens, enabling our immune system to recognize new pathogens and produce antibodies against them. A vaccine contains a dead or weaker version of the pathogen. When a vaccine is injected into your arm, the immune system will respond to the pathogen. Later on, when a real pathogen enters your body, the immune system will recognize it and will be ready to produce antibodies to fight against the same but harmful pathogen. In this picture, when you get vaccinated, you get the antibody for the vaccine for the pathogen you have been vaccinated for. Types of vaccines. There are two types of vaccines, the viral vector vaccine and the messenger RNA vaccine. The viral vector vaccine is the vaccine that contains a dead or harmless version of the pathogen, and when it enters your body, the immune system will start to learn what antibodies to use against it. The messenger RNA vaccine is a vaccine that sends the blueprints for making the protein of the pathogen, and then the immune system will start to learn what antibodies to use against it. The viral vector vaccine has been used since the 1970s, and the messenger RNA vaccine was first used in animals in 1990. In 1992, scientific studies had shown promising results in the rats they had injected the vaccine into, but there had been a few problems, so the scientists kept on studying the vaccine even more. After 28 years, the messenger RNA vaccine had finally been used in people, and those vaccines are the Pfizer and Moderna COVID-19 vaccine. These are the Pfizer and Moderna COVID-19 vaccines. In this picture, it tells you how the messenger RNA vaccine works. So the way how the messenger RNA vaccine works is that it sends the blueprints for making the protein of the pathogen, and then when the protein of the pathogen is made, the immune system starts to respond to the pathogen's protein. Has the messenger RNA vaccine ever been used before? The messenger RNA vaccine has never been used before in humans except for the Pfizer and Moderna COVID-19 vaccines. Are the myths true that the messenger RNA vaccine alters your genes? These myths are not true. This is because the messenger RNA vaccine only creates the protein of the pathogens. It does not enter the cell. For your genes to be altered, the vaccine has to go into the nucleus of the cell. This is because the nucleus of the cell is where all the DNA of the cell is kept. If the vaccine entered the cell's nucleus, it will then alter your genes, but it does not enter the cell's nucleus, so it does not alter your genes. In this picture, this purple thing is the nucleus, and inside the purple thing is all the DNA that's kept of the cell. If the vaccine did go inside the nucleus, your genes will be altered, but since it does not enter, your genes do not be changed or altered. What are the side effects of each type of vaccine? The side effects of the viral vector vaccine are pain in the place where the needle was injected. There's also fatigue, muscle pain, chills, and headaches. For the messenger RNA vaccine, the side effects are mostly the same as the viral vector vaccine. Which type of vaccine is better? Well, we first have to see which type of vaccine protects you longer. The messenger RNA vaccine will protect you for at least 6 months. The viral vector vaccine also protects you for 6 months. The side effects are mostly the same. For the Pfizer vaccine, its effectiveness is 95%, and for the Moderna vaccine, it is 94%. For the AstraZeneca vaccine, its effectiveness is 70%, and the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is 66% effective. So that means the messenger RNA vaccine is the better type of vaccine. Conclusion. In conclusion, the messenger RNA vaccine is the better type of vaccine. Now we know how our immune system works, why we need vaccines, what are the different types of vaccines, and much more. I hope we will benefit from the knowledge we have learned today through these findings. These are my references. Jazakallah for listening to my presentation.